We're doing some new things this year, and I'll give you a kind of a hint of where we're going in the future. Those of you who aren't doing papers are thinking of doing them. Our idea, our vision for the IAC is to make it larger, because we really want to have more people come and benefit from these opportunities. Historically, years ago, I mean, the fact that you are participating in the SGC and many of you in the Young Professional Program is really an example of how we want to grow. But we want ultimately to go from somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 people to something in the neighborhood of 2,500 or even 3,000 people. Now, the old formula to come to these meetings was you submit a paper, you get accepted, then you present your paper in an oral session, and if you're accepted to come, your company, your agency pays the trip for you to come. And so it was a very simple thing. But the trouble is that we found that it's hard to put any more papers into the day without somehow disturbing the schedule. And we want to have time for all these other things. So what we've decided to do as a gradual thing, this won't happen immediately, is to increase the number of what we are calling interactive sessions. The other word that's used a lot is poster sessions, where rather than having a scheduled 15 minutes to talk with a PowerPoint presentation, someone writes a paper that's accepted, the paper that can be published, but they bring their computer and we have a spot for them and a period of time for them to meet with people who are interested, present their paper, their experience, but to do it interactively. Basically, we give them a little table, an outlet for their computer, and allow them to meet with people and present it. And we're trying to make that ultimately the main form of presentation of papers. And then to select a much, much smaller group of papers, which are presented in oral sessions. That way, a lot more people can come. We can accommodate a lot larger participation. And our point in this is that those interactive presentations have as much prestige, as much value as the old oral presentations where someone was sleeping in the back anyway and they didn't hear most of what was said. People come and go. So if we can change the culture, we can increase the number of people. And we think that is to the benefit of everyone. The other thing we're doing is really what Jim spoke about earlier, what we're hoping to do with our Young Professional Program, and as a byproduct, our retired entrance fee. And I can't tell you how excited I am about that program, how happy I am really because the SGAC, which organizes the SGC, has made this happen for us. Last year it was a dream, this year it's a reality. And we're really deeply, deeply appreciative to the SGAC to put that together, to organize something, to bring the young professionals and the retired people together as a new IAF program. I think we can all agree it's the first year. Something may not go quite right, but let's learn from it. Over time, it's going to be one of the real special features of our Congress. I think back to 1988, I guess, in Amsterdam. 99, sorry. In Amsterdam, where the first student program took place. And that was so exciting. There were a lot of the old-timers who came to that meeting and wondered, what are we going to do with all these students? Because in some of the sessions, there were more students than there were people who had registered as full-paying participants. But they've enriched us. They've enriched our Congress and our exchanges. And the Young Professional Program will add to that enrichment. It's a distinct, separate program. But I think it's going to be as exciting and as important as that student program in the future. Last year, I did a little test. I asked the people in the audience how many of them had, without holding them to this from a formal standpoint, how many of them had registered as students and how many had registered as young professionals. Can I ask you to do the same? You can come in one way or the other, it doesn't matter, but I'm curious, how many of you registered as students this time? And how many registered as young professionals? All right, well that's great. One person registered, if that we didn't have a young professional rate last year, one person registered as a full-paying participant last year. All the rest registered as students. And I joke, my daughter is sitting in the back here, she's about your age, and I joked at the time that I know how it works with those student IDs. My son and daughter have, and I guess indirectly because Dad has helped, we've profited from that for many years. But the point is that we've created this really to make it possible for you to come in as young professionals if you wish. We're not going to hold you to that one way or the other, and some of you really are students that are studying anyway, and so that's fully legitimate. But we wanted to make it possible that people could afford to come as a professional, not as a student, and to participate in this program, and either to participate in the Congress as a young professional and a student, or solely as a young professional. And so it's really great that that's happening. And if you see from the registration standpoint some issues there, please tell us, because we can fine tune it. But I think we've come with an amount of money that makes it possible for people who actually are earning a salary, or their companies, or their societies, or their space agencies, to participate. And we've encouraged them, by the way, and will continue to do so, to take part in the SGC as well. And many of you are doing both. What we're also trying to do is, for the IAF, we're not just trying to do one meeting a year. That's great. We've had one year in and year out, but we want to do more for our federation, more for our members, more for the many, many volunteers who participate in what we do. And so we have a couple of new things we've started, and I just quickly mentioned them to you. One is we have a brand new website, still bugs in it, but websites that are in a sense a snapshot of who you are and what you're doing. And we're trying to take that snapshot in a way that really makes us global, that uses it as a tool to promote space and our members around the world. And I think that's beginning to happen. I'm really pleased with it. By the way, the SGAC is a member, so we promote the SGAC. And all of you who are coming from companies and agencies and societies, we're promoting where they are members. We're promoting their interest in trying to do it. We put a spotlight on one country each month, mention and talk a little bit about the members in that country. So if your organization isn't a member, give them a little nudge to see if we can't get them to sign up. The other thing we're doing for next year, and you'll be right in the middle of it, in fact part of it will be over by the time I see all of you next year. 2007, as many of you know, is a very, very special year. We have some birthdays to celebrate. The most notable of which is the 50th anniversary of Sputnik, the first artificial satellite. It's the 40th anniversary of the UN Outer Space Treaty. And it's the 50th anniversary of something called the International Geophysical Year, IGY, which gave a lot of the scientific background to the cooperation that has grown up among space-faring countries around the world. And so this is a very, very special year for us. We'll be doing a lot of celebrating at our Congress in Hyderabad, but we're also planning a very special event in Paris probably on the 20th of March. The date isn't quite fixed yet, where we will get probably 3 people, very, very distinguished people from around the world, to spend one of them 15 or 20 minutes talking about the past 50 years, but the other 2 to talk about where we're going in the future. And we'll certainly promote that a lot. If any of you are interested in that, please let us know. We'll try to make it possible. We can't get you there. You'll certainly be eligible to participate. We may be able to do a streaming video of it afterward. But really our idea is to celebrate this anniversary by not just looking to the past, but looking ahead. And I won't mention names yet because we're not quite at that point, but we're going to have some interesting people. This is not going to be talks that you'll fall asleep in if we're as successful as we hope.